So today I wanted to share something practical with you. And it concerns emails, the writing of emails. Not a very spiritual thing, you might think. Actually, it is as spiritual as anything else. So I have a small formula to help in the construction and writing of karma-free emails. What I mean by that is that out in the world, just dashing off a few words because you want to say something to someone as quick as you can often creates more division than it does anything else. So there are so many miscommunications that take place because of emails. And there are wonderful improvements to our society through emails as well. Being able to communicate with people instantly over long distance is an amazing thing. But only if we know how to use the tool well, and it's often when we're tired or when we want to say something that we make the mistake of either writing too much, writing it in the wrong way, using the wrong tone, the wrong language, then it creates all kinds of problems. And before you know it, you have division. So here's my recipe for writing karma-free emails and for making email writing and email reading a magical practice in our lives instead of something that we only have to do. So the first letter is E itself, and I want to start the process with the word empathy. An email potentially is a way of connecting with someone. That's what it is. You're connecting with someone, you have a message, you have something to deliver. So begin with empathy. You can apply this to all communication as well, this formula. Begin with empathy. Feel into the other person. Feel into what you're feeling. What is it you want to say? How might you best say it? Take a pause before you just rattle it off. Take a few breaths. There's another human being on the other end who's going to receive that. What effect might it have on their life? What kind of day might they be having? They may be having a bad day. They may also be in a hurry. All you need to know is that they're another human being. That's how you begin. And you don't want to make their life any harder than your life. So imagine you're on the other end of the email. And I also recommend beginning with a validation, rather than just launch in with what you want to say. Just one line, dear someone or hi someone. You use it for a greeting, just be nice, and then spend that 10 seconds writing it was great to see you the other day, or some validation. You've done really well on this. You begin with something not trite, not kind of made up, not false, but just something that validates them. A greeting of some form. It can be as simple as anything. Otherwise, it just sometimes seems rude and unempathic when you just receive this thing. Obviously, if you're in a chain of emails with the same person and you've written the fifth one, that's a different situation. You're already communicating with them, so you can just go straight in. The second is the M. M is for meaning and miscommunication. Really think about what it is you want to say and how it could be interpreted, and it could be misinterpreted. In fact, assume that it will be misinterpreted. And then really be incisive with how, the words you choose. Now, what is the thing you want to say? There is nothing, no matter how important, that can't be said in 3 points. Just 3 points. So try and distill your meaning into 3 points or less. And make those points clearly. Think them through. Write them out. Read them. And then distill them. 3 points. The A is for accuracy. There's 2 A's actually. Accuracy, which is more about just, again, word choice. You have You have an opportunity to write something, really exact, really precise. And if you use too many words or use the wrong words, you're going to create this miscommunication. The other A is a Sanskrit word. It's called ahimsa. And ahimsa means harmlessness. And this is part of the whole process of writing a karma-free email. Like if you create something, what you're going to, if you put something in there that has negativity or can be misunderstood, you actually then will create something that comes back to you in some way. Something negative come back to you, even though you may not have intended it. It was just a simple slip or a simple, like you were in a hurry. Ahimsa means you treat everything with respect and you consider, again, the feelings of others, and you write it in a way where it's not harmful. So consider that. Consider ahimsa. The I is very important. The I is inclusiveness. And this is many things. Like you can either write something that makes someone feel pushed out, like it makes them feel negative, makes them feel bad, or you can write something that makes them feel good, that makes them feel included. You need to make a point sometimes. You need to make your point clearly, and it's not always an easy point to make. But if it's really difficult, you shouldn't be doing it in an email anyway. You can apply this to text as well. But essentially, this is really about emails. Inclusiveness. And the other thing is who to include. The little CC thing that we use that way too liberally. You don't need to CC hardly anyone. I mean, if you CC someone, if you include them, you're including them in this process. They've probably got 100 other emails. So be empathic again. Like, do you need to include them? Because then you've added to their email box and you've added to the karma by including someone else, and you've complicated a situation that actually doesn't need that person's opinion or voice or anything. It just was between you and the other person. But we use CCing way too liberally. So consider the feelings of others. Consider the day of others. Don't include people unless it's absolutely essential, that they see this. Really consider that. Inclusiveness. Who to include. Who doesn't need to be hassled with this, really? Because then you're creating this more complexity. The more voices you have, the more potential miscommunication there is. And the L is for last chance. Before you hit that send button, read your email back to yourself and reread it. Is it distilled clearly in 3 points? And really consider, please, economy. This is the last E again. Economy. There is nothing that cannot be distilled into like really simple phrasing, really simple language. Nothing can't be distilled. And it's a real gift, and it's a wonderful thing to learn and to teach yourself. Writing an email can be like actually a way in which you distill a lot of your own thoughts and feelings for yourself. So take your time when you do it. Don't just fire it off. Once it's gone, it's gone. Once that send button's hit, that's your last chance. It's gone. The karma's out there. The miscommunication is out there. And then something that could have been dealt with so simply actually ends up being a week-long process, with more complexity and more people involved that you didn't need. And you created this whole web of difficulty and karma for yourself, and it could have been so much simpler. So really, don't just write this long-winded description or overshare your own emotional process. If you feel to do that, pick up the phone and talk to someone. Really, don't do it via email. It's not the right way. And be ruthless with your own editing of your emails. Be considerate. In this age where people are so busy and it's so difficult for all of us with all this stuff that comes at us, keep things short, keep things clear, and then you will have a way better day, I can assure you. So empathy, validate them. Meaning, really consider the wording you use so that you don't have miscommunication. Accuracy and ahimsa. Don't create something that doesn't create harm. that is based in this kindness. You know, what does it cost you to have a kind tone? An email is everything about tone, right? Read it back to yourself aloud. Inclusiveness. Don't CC people. Just don't do it. You know, maybe one if it's essential. And last chance, you know, really read it back to yourself before you send it. That's the most important thing. If you don't remember anything else, read that. Read it aloud. And finally, economy. Edit it down till you get the absolute quintessence, and then you can send it. And that's how you write karma-free emails and have a way more peaceful life. So I wish that upon you. I hope this fragment of light was useful. Please send it out far and wide, because it's needed.